You know what the absolute worst is?
When you wake up in the morning and you're just like are so excited for coffee and there's no creamer.
Coming off of a good series of days off and knowing that I have to work in the morning.
When you're trying to come up with an idea and you get on all of the social media channels and then like 5 hours later, you forgot what you were searching for in the first place. It just sucked me right in. But I did find a really interesting thought as I was going through the RV pages, is a lot of people like to post parts of whatever they're going through.
So for the lighter side of things today, we thought we would talk to you guys about some of the worst. Welcome back to NOP, everybody. My name's John. This is my beautiful wife, Kristen. And today we are talking about the worst. These are in no particular order. The worst roads is the first one.
Yeah.
What do you think the worst? Now, you driving in the Jeep is tough already because of the suspension.
I can't speak for the RVs, but
Yeah.
I would say that, the absolute worst road was, the Alcan, obviously.
Probably one of the most beautiful roads I've ever driven.
That one's worth it.
But it is definitely, like, it will straight punish you. If you were trying to drive the speed limit and you think you can get away with that, no, it's going to throw a surprise for you in a shadow where you're going to feel like something's going to break. And it might, like a leaf spring.
Yeah. An honorary mention is the Northeast in general.
Yeah.
For the curvy, tight roads.
The North. So this place, most of the roads around here are pretty old in the Northeast. And they're also pretty narrow. And so driving a large RV in the Northeast has certainly been its own challenge. What's the worst part of RVing? Well, that's generic.
I know, but it's going to be different based on what your jobs in the RV are, because I do not touch that black tank.
My answer is not going to involve the black tank or anything that has to do with RVing. So the worst part of RVing for me is bedtime.
Okay.
It is the worst. And this is the issue. I don't know about your guys' kids. Ours are all a little on the high type A, rambunctious type. And when you put them all in one room, it's just the
chaos.
worst.
It's chaos. Pure chaos. You can take away their electronics. It doesn't matter. They'll play with Legos. You'll take away the Legos. They'll play with something else.
They'll make up stories and talk to each other until 1 a.m.
And see, I am not as bothered by this. It really bothers John.
I think it's because I try to go to bed. I try to go to bed. And it's probably like, I probably deserve it because the same happens to them. And you can take that however you want. But I'll be laying there and then the RV will just do this. And it's just shaking because they're bouncing around.
The worst dump experience.
Well, what was yours?
I didn't have to dump the black. I fortunately only had to dump the gray water. But I don't know what happened. It just ended up all over the ground. It didn't end up in the schwagen. It was the
gray shower.
And it was gray water, thank goodness, but it was still really stinky and smelly, and I was super embarrassed. Luckily, we were out in the desert, like nobody cares out there. But it was everywhere, and I was trying so hard.
Poor thing.
Anyways.
So mine was, we were specifically at White Tanks. I believe it was White Tanks. It might have been Lake Plaza. And I was one of the first times using the schwagen. It was on the old RV. It was on Wendy.
2 schwagen stories.
It's dumping. And it didn't get hooked up right or something, and it was black. And it was, it missed the schwagen and started coming out everywhere. And then I'm doing my best to try to plug it back in, and I have gloves on, but they only go to like here, It's getting splashed. And it was fun. Worst nightmare that came to life.
Okay, well, this one's the same for both of us.
Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
We bought a lemon. We bought a bad truck twice. We made the same mistake twice in a row, and it cost us $15,000. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst.
So Kristen relates nightmare to monetary, if you guys can't tell. For me, the worst nightmare that came to life was driving the Alcan on the way back home, where we busted the leaf spring. And we were in the middle of nowhere in the winter, like the beginnings of winter. It was October, and the leaf spring broke, and we were a good 200 miles from the next
From Whitehorse.
where we were hoping that it was going to get fixed. I was confident that we'd be able to fix it there, but that was truly a nightmare. Like, I did not think.
Yeah, all along we were like, we're not gonna leave we're not gonna get in a snowstorm on the way home. Like, that's not gonna happen to us. We're not gonna get stranded on the Alcan.
Yep.
And then we did.
Yep. What's your worst state to boondock?
It might be Massachusetts.
I'm going to say New York.
I think instead of state, we should just say a general area.
The Northeast.
The Northeast is very difficult.
If you guys can't tell, it is not RV friendly up here. There are spots to boondock. There are spots to come up here and camp.
Yeah.
But if you're used to being out west and you come here, it's a different feel overall.
Yeah. Next one is worst area for allergies.
Do you have allergies?
I used to have allergies. This is the weird thing. When we lived in Kansas, there was a ragweed season, and I would always have to take, especially if we went to the lake of the Ozarks, I always had to take medicine because it was just copious amounts of snot everywhere. But
gross.
John does not have the same issue I do. He has a different one.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm allergic to something in Arizona. It usually happens in the winter, and I remember working, and people think I'm sick because I talk like this, and I cannot breathe out of my nose whatsoever. What's the worst thing about having a pet with you?
We love Cinder so much. We love having her with us. Sometimes it's a little challenging. I think the worst for me is the copious amounts of hair on everything, not just the floor. It gets on everything, like the toilet. Why is it on the toilet?
For me with Cinder, there's times where you have to figure out how you're going to deal with leaving them somewhere. Now, with the, Max Air fans or the Fantastic fans and the temperature control, and with our Waggle pet monitor, we are able to not have to worry about that as much, but it still plays a factor.
Worst part of RV parks?
I don't like other people bugging me about my children. If you are one of those parents that needs to be by the kids all the time to feel better and safer, that's fine. We are not that. Our kids are fairly independent.
We call them free-range kids.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And they're no more independent than I was when I was growing up either. And I know there's some argument for saying that things have changed. I really don't think they have. But we run into the judgment occasionally when we're at an RV park because our kids can get kind of loud.
We definitely, try to instill be respectful of your surroundings and all that stuff.
They get scolded on the regular.
But they are kids.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating in an RV park.
True. We're just kind of a loud family in general.
Yeah.
And
I know that bugs a lot of people. So we try to be cognizant of that. And I think that's why it is so difficult for us to be in an RV park, because we know that about ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so we're super stressed about it. I'm super stressed about it when we come into an RV park.
Worst mistake ever made RVing. I got stuck in this little turnaround at boondocking location in Missouri that was actually a really good spot. It's on our boondocking guide if you guys want to check that out. But there's a little mud pit around one corner of it, and I took the corner too sharp, and I just dipped that trailer right into that, and it was like a good 1.5 feet deep. But the old Ram truck pulled it out.
Yeah.
I had to put it in 4 low and give it some gas. But what's your worst mistake?
I don't make mistakes.
What's the worst smell?
Oh no. The worst is when your tank is just full. The way that we have
when it's full and when it's hot.
Yeah.
Is when it's
and
really
then
bad.
It's just like a poo-pourri.
Gross.
That just fills your house, and that's a pretty nasty smell.
Yeah, we've parked by feedlots before without knowing it, and the wind was going one way when we got there, and then the wind changed at some point during the evening, and we woke up to a whole new experience.
That wraps up all of our worsts for now. For all the worsts, there are 100 bests
so much
out
more
there.
best. But a lot of these things They're just that's just RVing, you know, and it's the learning curve that comes with it. And they're, even though they're the worst, we look back at them and we sit here and we laugh about it. So do not let it discourage you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being with us today. We are really close to heading out of Massachusetts.
That's right.
And on to Arizona, but we still have some more great content from New England that will be airing in the next couple of weeks, because there have been so many great places that we've gone that we still haven't had a chance to share yet. So stick around.
That's right, you guys. Thanks always for being here. Give the video a thumbs up. That always helps the algorithm. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you out there.